Today's episode is all about reinvention. In a moment, you'll meet a woman named Amy Word. She's an amazing local entrepreneur and an old dear friend of mine. She owns 2 restaurants, has 3 kids, and is running for local office here in Indiana. A foodie, mama, and soon-to-be political leader. I mean, come on, how cool is that? Amy is a woman with major grit. She's reinvented herself many times over, which is exactly why I wanted to have her on the show today. So here's a big question for you. Who do you want to become? What's in your next chapter? What's next in your story? What's one area of your life or career that you want to reinvent? I want you to think about that throughout this episode. Let's get this episode popping. Here we go. Oh, hey, I'm Susan Hyatt, and this is Go Time TV. This is the show about creating what you crave right now. I'm a master certified life coach, author, entrepreneur, motivational speaker. I'm also a mom of 2 college-age kids, and I'm married. And I've learned a lot in these 47 years. And one thing I've learned is that we're done with certain things. We're done with apologizing. We're done with hiding. We're done with pretending that we're not good enough to go after our goals and our dreams. So join me for these short episodes where I bring you on a journey and teach you how to get more of what you want. More time, more energy, more money, more intimacy, whatever it is that you crave, we're gonna create it right here on Go Time TV. Amy.
Susan, good morning.
Thank you for being on Go Time TV.
Of course, of course.
So the episode is about grit and reinvention. Mm-hmm. And you are someone that I have known. I was trying to figure this out. We met when our kids were in pre-K?
Yeah, or maybe even preschool. I think Rai and Izzy were like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think so.
And Emily and Andrew weren't even in school yet.
Right,
yeah.
And for viewers, Cora changed her name.
That's right, yeah, sorry.
No, it's always a good story.
Yeah.
Cora reinvented herself in high school.
Yes, it's a perfect thing.
She went from Emily to Cora.
Yeah.
I love that story too. So you are the perfect example of a mom, a business owner, now running for political office. I've watched you reinvent yourself multiple times over the time that we met.
Yeah.
So 19 years ago.
Yeah.
And I wonder, when you decided to run for public office, let's talk about that. So you're running for school board.
I am. I'm running for District 3 school board for EVSC. I just filed like 2 weeks ago, so this is all still kind of new stuff. School board doesn't have as long as an election cycle as normal ones do. Typically you file in January of the year before, and this isn't until August to file. So it's definitely a 70-day whirlwind, and especially this is a new thing for me, another reinvention, if you will.
Yeah.
So learning all the things and appropriate filings and all the documents that you have to have, and making sure that you do everything absolutely correctly. And being the first time, and again, having not done this, it's not like I have campaign managers and all these things, because it's still just it's a race. It's still a countywide race, 140,000 voters, but it's not some of the bigger races, so there's consultants and things that help with school boards. So it's a lot to learn.
So that being said, when I met you, you were transitioning from being a teacher.
Yes.
To a realtor.
Yes, that's how we were both realtors.
We were both in real estate. And from real estate to bar and restaurant owner.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so each time you've reinvented yourself, were you scared?
Oh my gosh, petrified. Yeah. And so, that's the question that people will ask, and I'm sure they ask you the most, like, how do you decide to take those next steps? Or, even when I formed the Franklin Street Events Association or any of these other nonprofits or Front Porch Fest, like, how do you do it? And it's one of those things, first of all, the more you do it, it's like riding a bike. It's like riding our Pelotons.
Right.
The more you do it, you get more confidence in yourself that you're able to pull these things off. Mm-hmm. And so, but even then, there's always that fear before you step into it. Mm-hmm. You just, at the end of the day, you have enough confidence in yourself, and that that no matter what happens, it's all going to be okay. Right. And you're able to pivot and turn in all these different ways to make it work. And so there's always a ton of fear. There's always that.
I think that that's such a great point to make, because I think many of our viewers will watch these episodes and see amazing people like yourself that I interview and think, oh, well, they'll attach to some reason why you have it,
Yep.
and they don't.
Yep.
And I think one of the things that you've mastered is that ability to bet on yourself.
Yeah.
And that ability to say, okay, I transitioned from being a teacher to a realtor. I happen to know from your personal story, you cashed in what to invest in becoming a restaurant owner?
Yeah, my teacher retirement. The little bit that I had just enough for a down payment to make literally every penny that I'd had. And I had been in a really kind of not good personal situation in the years leading up to that. And so it was, Lamasco literally became my lifeboat in a way. And it was like, and I remember even sitting there looking in the mirror, and it was like, no matter what it takes, hell or high water, you're going to get your ass up every day and you're going to make this work. And it was, when you sometimes get yourself in a position, there isn't a choice not to fail. And not that there weren't not successful things around the way, but the option of failing was just not on the table. It was not going to happen.
Do you guys hear that? The decision was made that I will get up every day and be devoted to this new path.
Yeah.
No matter what.
No matter what. No matter what. And I think sometimes people do, again, don't maybe sometimes realize there were lots of failures and all of that. There are things that don't launch like you should.
Right.
There are decisions that you make that didn't necessarily turn out the way that they should. But again, you're able to pivot and still make all of those things okay. And the more you do that, it is muscle memory. You are able to say, I can do these big things. I can make this happen. It might not be exactly the way I think it's going to, and it rarely is. There's never a time I think anything 100% like what I thought exactly what it was going to be, but and many times actually ended up being a better version of what that was. And so the more you do it, the better you get at it.
I think that that's such an important point, because so often, like even with my children, I had like this vision of like these perfect little nerds. I was gonna have these little nerdy kids that did exactly what they were supposed to do.
That turned out wonderfully. Tell me more, Susan.
That has not been my reality. And I look at them and I'm like, I said to Ryan just the other day, who is now in real estate.
Yeah.
He was talking about something, and I was like, there is never a normal conversation with you. Yeah. I love that about you.
That's what makes it a million times better.
Yes.
That thank God everything didn't turn out the way that we envisioned it to begin with.
I'm just sort of like, what has happened? And same with business.
Yeah.
Nothing looks like the way I thought it would look like.
No.
And thank God.
Yeah.
And thank God.
Yep.
So you started your restaurant empire.
I did.
You at one point had 3 restaurants. You sold one. You have 2 very successful restaurants now. We're sitting in one of them.
Ta-da! Amy's on Franklin.
Amy's on Franklin. I was actually on your bar earlier when you see social media.
So we were talking about the pictures on the bar. Good.
Right. And so they were like, do you think Amy will get mad?
Oh, I would have actually been highly disappointed if you didn't take a picture up there. So it's a rite of passage.
It's a rite of passage.
Yeah.
So you have 2 very successful restaurants here locally. Coronavirus hit.
Yeah.
And I bet that wasn't in your plan.
It's not in the plan. There's no, I looked, there isn't actually a book out there, how to run a restaurant during a pandemic, and I hope no one ever has to write one.
Yeah.
But it was, and I remember this day distinctly. It was at the end of March, and we absolutely get shut down. The bills between the 2 places come in, and it is astronomical 6 figures. There's no income coming in, and it's just like, oh my God, I don't know how we're gonna do this. And I had one of those moments. I was sitting in my car, and I just crossed 41. I pulled in the Bossy parking lot, and I was like, you have to get this shit together. Like, you are having some thoughts that are just not good right now. And I'm like, I have got to get this together. And I was like, and I had one of those moments. I looked in the damn rearview mirror, and I said, get your shit together, and we can do this. We can make this happen. And then from that moment, we pivoted to multiple different avenues to try to make it work. Lamasco, we were able to use there. We closed at night, and I opened up I worked on the tech end, and so people were able to buy lunches for the hospitals. We fed almost 10,000 frontline workers. People were buying this from all over the country. It was my network everywhere. And so it was one of those things, not only were we able to keep, a good 25% of all my employees, all my full-time employees were still able to stay on, but then we were also doing some good for the community as well. And so we completely pivoted there. We did the same thing here. We did the steak and takes where we had the whole meals, and you actually grilled your steaks at home and bottles of wine.
I think we picked up
you guys picked up a couple of those. And even then reinventing the menu, making it more like a family pickup kind of thing, and just every day utilizing, what can we do to keep alive? And we more than kept alive. And I think when people see that, I've had more people not necessarily comment on like the product we were selling, but more the ability to pivot. And people, they like to see that. They like to see that someone is working, they're working their business hard, even if it's not necessarily exactly the way that you thought that it was going to be. It's inspiring. It's inspiring to see that in others and in ourselves. It was awesome to see, and if I cry, I'm sorry.
I've almost cried a couple times.
And so listening to my crew, my peeps here, seeing their proudness and their accomplishments and being able to do that, and realizing that they're part of this whole thing. And there's some days Jerry'd come down, Jeremiah, which we affectionately refer to him as Jerry, and he was like, I'm just so damn proud of us, like we're staying alive, we're making it. And I was like, dude, it's 9/10 of the battle right there, we got this. And so watching,
for fuck's sake, I mean, come on,
and watching what we're talking about grow inside of them, and that they realize, we've got this, we can do this, we can make this happen, we're gonna survive, we're gonna find a way to do it. That is an awe-inspiring thing, and it's an awesome thing to be a part of and to feel, for sure.
It's an unstoppable spirit that is infectious.
Yep.
And it tears me up to think you were a block from my home in that parking lot.
Yeah.
And
oh, literally, that was a block from
a block from my
Susan
home.
Hyatt powers were there. They were coming all the way down the street.
But I would talk about you a lot, and I would actually get on my class calls and be like, quit your bitching. My friend Amy owns restaurants, and let me tell you what she's doing right now. We do not have the luxury of feeling sorry for ourselves right now.
No. And I felt sorry for myself for about 30 minutes.
Yeah, right? You got about 30 minutes.
And it's okay. And that's the thing, too. We're allowed to feel what we feel. We're allowed to feel those things. And I did, and I thought, and I was having some crazy thoughts like, oh my God, my kids are better off if I'm not even here at this point. We're going to lose everything. I mean, and I was like, sister, you've got to fucking get it together. Like, you can't, and then, everyone's, and in some ways, it is when people are looking to you, you're like, you have got to get this together. There's like a whole bunch of people that are all going, Amy, what do we do? And I'm like, hey, what do we do? I need someone to ask what we do. And so, it was. I was
what do we do? We show up.
We show up anyway, and you just keep plugging away, even when you feel like your wheels are spinning in the sand and you're not moving forward. You're moving, and that momentum is even if, because we're actually really not stuck. We think we're stuck at the time, but we're not. You are still moving forward even when it doesn't feel like it. And so, and I think that goes back to the more times that you do that, the more that you can see that, you realize that.
I survived that.
Yeah.
We survived the pandemic.
Yes, we did. Yeah. And when you've been tested by fire, and that goes back to that, I was saying, that confidence, you once you've done it enough, you start to realize, we've got this, whatever it is. And so, dude, if my restaurants can survive during a pandemic, we can survive anything.
I'm always like, I raised Ryan Hyatt. What y'all got?
Exactly.
What y'all got? Because this isn't an impressive drama to me. So, at what point, was it the pandemic that sparked your interest in political office? At what point did you decide, you know what? Because I happen to know you are on record as saying, I'm not running for political office.
Yeah, I did. I said that, yeah. And literally everyone, especially those in the political world, they were like, you just don't know it yet. You are. And I'm like, I absolutely don't. I can get so much more done outside the political arena. I just do stuff and ask for forgiveness later. It doesn't really work that way. Well, it depends who you are, but typically that doesn't work that way. And, obviously the pandemic's having some time to reassess some things, even seeing how other operations, including school board, and school corporations, seeing how people have reacted to these kind of things, and realizing that I have a very unique skill set that would be highly utilized, whether it be, school board, or I sit also on the board of zoning authority, or, any of those things. I have a very, very unique perspective. So. Yeah. What's
your biggest hope when you get elected to school board?
To go in and make appreciable change, and be willing to be a listener, because there was a lot of voices. Teachers are in a really, really hard pinch right now in so many ways, even before the pandemic. And I think that's just brought to light, A, their importance, B, we don't value them as we should. And so being able to be an advocate in all possible ways. And I think that's what we both do. I think we are advocates, and advocacy is really the number one thing we kind of do. It can call different names to different things, but I mean, I think that's our gig, man. And so being able to be an advocate for our parents and teachers and students. Yeah.
So I love asking people this question. There's a couple of questions I ask a lot. One is, what do you want people to say at your funeral about you?
Oh gosh, that is a good one. That I loved hard and I gave it my all.
Aww.
Yeah.
What about your grandchildren that hopefully aren't coming for a while?
No. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. My grandchildren, with the 5-year-old, that's always
right.
Izzy and Andrew don't have children for a long time. That I was tough as nails. That I never, saw a challenge that I wasn't willing to take. And then I loved hard.
Aww.
Yeah.
Tough as nails.
Yeah.
What's something you want to be tough as nails about in office?
Ooh, another good question. Not being afraid to make those hard decisions. And I think, again, the more really hard decisions you make, you get better at being able to make those and trusting your gut instinct. Also, your gut instinct with a lot of research and data, and all those things put together. I feel very confident going into decision making, whatever that table looks like. That I know I have what it takes to be able to be there, to make the hard choices.
What's something, when you look at the position of school board, what's something that you're witnessing that's happening that breaks your heart?
So I actually sent out a questionnaire. It's the first time, I think, in the history of anyone running for school board that they did this. So I sent out a Google survey, and I've had close to 10% of all the teachers respond. And statistically speaking, you can make quite broad assumptions when you get about 10% of a population when you're polling. And so I asked the top 10 things that teachers were seeing a problem were, and then I also gave an open-ended question to let them, expound upon that a little bit more. And to see how low morale is, and to just hear these stories, these teachers that they care so much, and they just are not, they don't have the tools to be able to get what's done to make sure that student outcomes are where they need to be. And so just hearing those very personalized stories, it's just hard. Yeah. And you want to be able to, whether it's helping make sure that state policy is better, funding is different, how we allocate that funding is different, and just making sure that also seeing such a disparity between the haves and have-not schools, and just seeing that in practice every day, what those looks like for those teachers, even everything from their pay being attached to lower student outcomes, when at the end of the day sometimes they've increased those students fourfold from where they started, but that's not how it works. And so then you get some of your best and brightest teachers and first-year teachers literally are eligible for WIC and free and reduced lunch and all these things because their pay is so low, and it's a horrible nightmare. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed. And obviously, as one of 7 school board members, it's not like I can jump in and fix all of them, but certainly be an advocate for what I can fix. Yeah.
What's something that makes you feel rich that doesn't cost any money or almost no money?
When all 3 of my kids are there, and whatever thing it is, just there's what's that movie? Not Cheaper by the Dozen, something where they have all the kids. Steve Martin's in it.
Yeah.
And she goes to the hotel and she can't sleep, and so they bring the 12 pillows up because they're all there.
Aww.
Like the nights before they're and they're all there. It's like the whole world could disappear at those moments for me. Yeah, and it's so rare anymore. With Izzy gone and the age disparity and stuff. So yeah.
What are you gonna do to celebrate when you win?
I'm gonna call you. We're gonna have a glass of champagne together.
Yes!
We'll meet in the
I'm in.
We're gonna meet in the Bossy parking lot, and we're gonna go.
Y'all hold her to that. Bianca, remind me of that. I'm gonna be parked.
Oh, we will.
I'm gonna have the Go Time TV RV
Oh my God,
set up.
we totally have to do this. We
Totally.
will. above a glass of champagne in the Bossy parking lot.
I can't wait to vote for you, and I can't wait to support you and celebrate with you when you win.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
I love you.
I love you back.
I'm gonna cry.
It's time for the question of the day. This is the part of the show where I share a question for you. Yes, you, the beautiful person who's watching this right now. Okay, so you just heard from my friend, Amy Word. She's the epitome of grit and reinvention, and she's stepping into a really amazing new season of her life, running for local government, serving her community at a whole new level. So I want to know, what about you? Who do you want to become? Post your answer down below in the comments. Do you want to become a community leader like Amy? Do you want to become a successful entrepreneur, a published author, a prolific artist, a better ally and activist, a leading voice in your industry, a disruptor, someone who's changing the status quo? Maybe a more patient person. That's not me. Someone who knows when to speak up and when to shut up and listen. Post in the comments below this video and share your answer to this question. Who do you want to become? What's calling you? What's next for you? Describe your future self. I can't wait to meet her. What's an area of your life that could use some reinvention, fresh vibes, a new look, or maybe a new attitude? This is the part of the show called your 2-minute upgrade. I show you how to upgrade a part of your life in 2 minutes or less. A quick makeover. Tiny tweaks can make a big difference. And today we're gonna make over your Zoom or on-camera presence. So whether you're running for office or running from one Zoom meeting to the next or running errands around town, your posture and your body language makes a big difference in how you feel and how your audience receives your message. I'm gonna show you a few tricks that I learned from my former client, Allie Irwin, who is a parenting coach, but also a body language expert. So a couple of these tips can help you look and feel more confident on camera or in person. Okay, so Amy, thank you for being part of our 2-minute upgrade. I thought it would be super fun since you're running for office, you're gonna be on camera a lot. I've consulted with Allie Irwin, she's a parenting coach, who I wish I had known when, when I was raising these kids when they were younger. But she also is a body language expert, and I love watching her. She'll watch like politicians and debates and like give you the body language breakdown. And so I said, you know, my friend Amy's running for office, and all y'all watching, you're on Zoom a lot right now during the pandemic, even if you weren't formally. I'm on camera every day. Give us some female confidence tips for on camera. And she's got some fun ones. Are you game for trying some of these out?
The tiny tweaks. I love this. I'm ready.
Okay. So basically what Allie says, I'm just going to read this, is that for women, presence and charisma are about 2 qualities: warmth plus competence. Essentially, I care about you and I'm good at what I do. So these 2 messages are foundational to having a strong presence. Some women's personal brand is more about warmth, some are more power focused. To have a strong presence as a female leader, you need your particular combination of both. So it's not like you have to be a cookie cutter person about it. Confidence without warmth means people either fear you or envy you. And warmth without competence, they like you, but they won't respect you.
Fascinating.
So I know. And
Yeah.
women particularly are judged.
Default to that
right.
first one,
Yeah.
for sure.
And
yeah.
we're-
and judged way more critically than men are in those
Right,
same,
right.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that she says that I find super interesting, especially because I'm redoing my office and rethinking like how my Zoom setup is gonna be, space is super important. So when you're on camera, she said you need to frame yourself not too close, because it's like you're invading their personal space, and that's too warm. Not too far away, or you'll seem like low
Unapproachable,
warm, less engaged. So I thought we could practice you being on camera so that there's the right amount of space.
Yes, we can all see what that physically looks like.
So you're not, and Brandon's gonna help us. He's gonna tell us like if we're too close, too far away, what that looks like. And then we also are gonna practice, okay, so She says frame yourself mid-chest,
Okay.
nipple up,
Okay.
about eye level. If the camera's too high or too low, the eye contact is weird. Like
Okay.
if you're looking down, it's like you're looking down on them. And if you're looking up, you have less authority.
So you want to be right at eye
Yeah.
level.
So when these journalists come up to you,
I tell them I need you to you're too close, you're too far away.
right? And then we're gonna practice.
But in a highly warm but competent approach.
Right. They'll have you on camera being like, I said what I said. And then we'll practice our stance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So Brandon has set us up with the perfect framing, right? So let's practice
Warmth and competence.
warmth and confidence, and also the posture, the power posture is typical of like good posture, but like shoulders back and down,
Loose arms.
loosen your arms,
Loosey-goosey.
right? Because if we're too tight and tense, which I do this sometimes, like I'll grip, like your audience can feel that and they'll not know why, but feel tense. So when these reporters put cameras in your face and they're like, so, what do you think you're gonna do to help this district? You'll be like, back up appropriately, please. Loose arms.
Yeah, loose arms.
It's all good.
Yep.
All right. Okay, this is too far away.
It's too far away. We look not.
We're not warm enough.
Well, we're probably our competency level probably
Our
in
competency
people's minds. Yeah.
has dropped because.
We are far less confident.
Listen, this body language stuff is
Yeah.
the shizzle.
Yeah.
So
Would you listen to us now?
rate us in the comments if you would listen to us more now or in the earlier part when we are framed from the nipple up.
Yes.
Okay. This is how I lean in during Zoom calls when I'm like, your excuses are trash.
Well, I think we'd think for a moment it would actually be a slight power play, but that's what she was saying. That too
Right.
close definitely is that. Are you listening to us now?
We all up in your business. Vote for Amy.
Okay, that would be when we could do that. Vote for me.
Okay, that's how you do it. Try that right now wherever you are. Shift into high quality, powerful presidential posture. Doesn't that feel so much better?
It does.
I know, right? Your body language is sending a message to the world, and what do you want that message to be? Ignore me or vote for me? You decide. Carry your head high because you are royalty. This has been Go Time TV. This episode was all about reinvention. Who do you want to become? What's your next chapter going to be? What's one area of your life or career that you want to reinvent? I hope this episode has inspired you to take some action and build the future that you want. I'll leave you with this quote from Mary Ann Evans, a writer whose pen name was George Eliot. It's never too late to be what you might have been. Let those words sink in. It is never, ever too late. If this show brought just a little bit of positivity into your day, click the thumbs up below. Thank you so much. And subscribe so that you never miss an episode. I'm Susan Hyatt saying bye until next time. And remember, you only get one life. Make it big, make it bold, and make it count. It's go time. Okay. Ready?